it's Chun-Yee here, and today I'm going to share some yogic wisdom. And today I want to talk about practice. Practice is, in essence, in some ways, the most important thing we can do. Practicing our yoga. And one of my yoga teachers said that yoga is 1% theory, 99% practice. And whilst the knowledge is for sure useful and amazing, at the end of the day, it comes down to the practice. Have you ever had that moment in Shavasana at the end of the yoga class or during a meditation, wherever that may be, and that feeling of bliss that we can access? Yet that feeling is sometimes so magical, it's hard to actually put into words the full extent of that feeling. Because once we put words into describing these magical moments, it almost takes some of the essence of that magic away, and we can never fully truly describe the full essence of the magic of these practices using words and theory. We need to actually experience it, and then you know what's right for you. As with yoga, every single individual, every single one of us is unique. There's no one of us the same. There's a great quote, Oscar Wilde, and he says, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." And no one can be you more than you can be. It's an amazing gift for each one of us to be here in this world. And we're gifted with our beautiful mind and body to be at home with. And we may not be taught how to use our minds and body. However, during practice, when we practice, this is when we can connect with our mind and body. And this is where the magic of yoga can happen. I find when often I talk to people about yoga, I quite often have to tell people that yoga isn't only about the asanas, which is the physical postures that we see in a lot of yoga classes. So yoga originated from India, and when it was brought over to the West, it was popularized with the physical postures. And yes, the physical postures, the movement, and all the different poses have huge benefits, that's for sure. However, it's the way we use the postures that's whether we are really aligning ourselves with the true essence of yoga. And when we study any of the yoga philosophy, any mindful things, this is where the true essence of yoga can really shine through. So when we practice yoga, often we want to practice with equal effort and ease. It's like the yin and the yang. So the yang gives us the energy to move through and do anything in the world, and the yin provides the softness. And when we work together with both the yin and yang in balance and harmony, this is where we can find equal effort and ease, and a great way to walk our own unique past journeys. Now, that's not to say that when we practice lots and lots of yoga, we will be 100% at bliss and at peace and joy all the time. Because for me, on my journey, something that I learned that was really enlightening was when we are 100% at bliss all the time, and there's no difficult challenges or anything like that, and we're almost like, it's almost that stereotype that we're thinking like yogis are like meditating in the cave, and then even in life they're just floating through it in peace all the time. Well, actually, this stereotype doesn't really fully, truly exist. And when we are 100% at ease and at bliss all the time, to be really honest, that doesn't happen in the human experience. And that's more when we've passed away, and um, and then you're at peace fully then. That's not to say we shouldn't practice our yoga though, because the essence of yoga is it brings us to the present moment, and this present moment can give us peace and joy. So we have what can be called the wandering mind, and also what's called the present mind. We spend a lot of our time in this wandering world, always thinking about maybe things to do or even dreams and ideas. And actually, the wandering mind serves its purpose. Like, this is where creativity, imagination can stem from. However, we spend too much time in the wandering mind, and overloading the wandering mind is all the stress, the burnout, the grief, the suffering. Yes, we all know that very well. And this is why we have the present mind. When we practice yoga, we are essentially practicing being present. Yes, being present. And by letting go of the past, letting go of the future, coming back to the very present moment, the real only moment that only really exists. Because the past is thoughts of our memories that we can essentially sometimes choose, in fact, and the future is also just thoughts of what we think might happen. It never always happens exactly how we think either. The present moment is the only one true real moment. And when we practice yoga, it's essentially coming to the present moment with our mind and body. The very easiest way to connect the mind and body in the present moment is tuning into our breath, our life force energy, that inhale and the exhale. However, I really want to stress that often when people say, I don't do yoga because there's this stereotype that yoga is basically just stretching. And that is a part of the yoga, and the postures, massive benefits to the body, but it's not the only part of yoga. Essentially, yoga is different for every single individual because every individual is unique. And at the same time, anything essentially that brings you to the present moment, to your own peace, for you is yoga. I'm talking about any activity. This can be anything on the mat. There's many styles of yoga that you can explore and get into once you do, or if you have already. But also off the mat. And we can even turn daily chores or things we do day to day, reframe the mind, make the experience more meditative, and then we can become more being in our nature from day to day. However, I recommend doing more practicing on the mat, and this is how we can take our lessons on the mat to then come off the mat into our daily lives. And this is why practice is so important. And I really recommend a daily practice. If you are new to yoga or well-being or mindfulness, just practice when you can and add it in. And for my own journey, I definitely understand at the beginning, it's not easy to like practice every day. And the more I do yoga now, it just it's become a part of me and my being that I do it every day now. But it's not like something on my to-do list where I'm like, I've got this goal, I do it every day, need to tick it off. No, that's coming away from yoga. um, the yoga is more should be more at ease when it flows. But then there is that slight hint of discipline within, where we can carve out and create some space. I recommend a morning practice is really great to start the day with, tuning into yourself, and then finding whatever practice resonates with you to be present and tune in with your body with. Um, yes. And then I also recommend trying different practices. Sometimes you don't know what resonates until you try. Um, and then other times your practice will change because we are constantly changing. Even from our daily cycles, our morning energy is more like springing up for the day. And then in the middle, we've got our summer where we're doing during the day, and then evening energy is more like autumn, winding down. So that practice will differ from the morning rise up, and then we fall into our winter slumber each night. So we've got our daily cycles, and then we've got our weekly cycles, which can differ from person to person depending on work patterns, etc. And our monthly cycles, for women out there, our monthly cycles are heavily influenced by our monthly periods as well. So it's really nice to be aware that quite often the week before the period is almost like autumn energy, winding down, week of the period, winter energy, where the body is using more energy for our periods, so then we have a requirement for more rest and time for our bodies. And then we may find the 2 weeks after the period we have more energy as we move into our spring and summer during our monthly cycles as well. And then our internal rhythms, definitely amazing to listen to our body and be aware and then align our practice with our internal body. And then we've also got the external rhythms in the universe. Some people like to tune in with the moon, for example, or maybe just being outside, connecting with nature. But any way that resonates, tuning in with our external world and our internal world, and then being able to find peace between the two. A really amazing quote that I love is, change what you can't accept, which a lot of us are familiar with, and then accept what you can't change. So the accepting what you can't change, this is when we move away from the doing and trying to change things. And it's the things that are outside of our control often. And sometimes if we just tune into how we feel about the external situation, and maybe it could be reframed with the mind, or it could simply be just being aware of the mind and body and being kind to ourselves. Being kind to ourselves is the very first limb of yoga. Before any of the breathing, before any of the movement. And being kind to ourselves is honestly the best magic and medicine we can each give to to ourselves and our loved ones and to the whole world. Being kind to ourselves can reduce stress. It can reduce any of the mind stuff that fluctuates in our brains and causes ourselves disalignment. So yes, practice. I highly recommend practicing being present, whether that's through the breath or any activity you can think of. It can be sports, it can be arts, it can be anything creative, or it can be anything that you enjoy doing that brings you in the present moment. Any movement, some days it could be stillness. If you have any interesting ways of practicing, I'll love to know. As you know, I offer restorative yoga for rest and laughter yoga for joy. Singing and dancing, even these really bring us to the present moment. It's great for our mind and body. And also play. Play, we often forget to play, but play is the amazing way to be in the present moment. There's no right or wrong way, and it's a wonderful way to just explore, be creative. And of course, all the different yoga styles we see in the studios, a great way to be in the present moment too. But the main thing is, find what resonates with you and find different practices that resonate for you for different times when your energy changes. The more I'm aware of my energy these days, the more I become aware of how much it really does change throughout the days, hours, and weeks, and months, and seasons. And it all starts with awareness. Once we have that awareness, we can practice, and we always have choice. No matter what happens in the external world, sometimes it feels like it's outside of our control, but we can always choose how to respond, and we can always choose how we think and feel and allow ourselves to be kind and process and just simply fall into being rather than something feeling like it's a to-do list. Find some enjoyment in anything that you find yourself being involved in doing. Okay, so today's main message is about practice. Practicing being present, being aware, being present, and essentially being you. Sending you so much love. Have a great day.